Hi everyone, this is another day of in Bordo's kitchen. I'm going to prepare another recipe which I've not made before in the Bordo's kitchen or published in Bordo's kitchen. I'm going to make a very classic Indian dish. It's called Aloo Dum. In the east, or Dum Aloo. In the north, it's quintus or even Midwest part of India. I mean, you cannot think of an Indian state or an Indian cuisine that does not make this kind of potato curry. What I have done today, this aloo dum or dum aloo as you call it, is basically a potato curry. I've tried to do a twist of mixing the ingredients of a traditional northern Kashmiri dum aloo as they call it, and east, bring in the two flavors. So let me show you the ingredients, right? So I've got these small baby potatoes. I'm going to cook them as a whole. What I have done is I have used a punch, and I've punched on both sides. That way the spices goes in, and I have soaked this right now for about an hour with a lot of salt and a half a lemon squeezed, the juice squeezed. The reason I do that is because it helps in removing some of the starches from the potato, right? So that's like an hour before cooking I did that. So that's the potato. Now let me show you the spices, the ingredients or the condiments. So this is traditional Kashmiri used in Rogan Josh. So you got saunf or fennel seeds, and this is dried ginger, which I did it at home. That's going to be ground into dry grind. Then for the whole spices, I've got cardamom, about 12 pieces, cinnamon, about 3 or 4 sticks as you see it, cloves, about 11 pieces, and bay leaf. So these is the dry spices. And then of course I've got a small size tomato, finely sliced, and the powdered condiments are turmeric, cumin seeds, coriander powder, and Kashmiri red chilli, right? So that's kind of the spice. It's a very easy dish to cook, very tasty, and of course not to mention red onion, well ground, right? So that's the ingredient. So let me take you through the dish, the cooking as I come back. So here I have. I'm cooking this in ghee, which is basically the Indian saturated butter. I wouldn't say that though. It's ghee, right? So I've got 1 tablespoon of ghee, which I'm letting it melt, and I will kind of stir the pot a little bit so that the ghee spreads well. So yep, and I'll just let it warm up. The ghee is now heated up, so I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds, and I'll put all of the dry spices. I'll just wait for it to crackle, and at this stage I'm going to add the finely ground red onion. Slow down the fire a little bit, and I'm going to just fry it for some time so that the onion becomes translucent. The onion is now translucent. At this stage I'm going to add the powdered spices, which is about 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 1 teaspoon of coriander powder, and kind of 3/4 teaspoon of the dried Kashmiri red chilli. I keep using the word Kashmiri because some people call it degi mirch, because it is not very hot, but it gives a beautiful color, which is why I always use the Kashmiri dried powdered chili. Right, so I'm going to just cook it for about 2 or 3 minutes on low flame. Well, the spices are well done. At this stage, I'm going to add a little bit of salt, but remember the final salt test is after I put the potato, fry it, and as I put the water later. So this is more or less done. At this stage, I'm going to add the chopped tomato and fry it up. Well, the tomato is well mashed with the spices. So at this stage, I'm going to drain the potato, which I had soaked. And I'm just going to put it into the spice. Stir it. And I'm going to fry it a little bit before I make the final step in terms of preparation. Well, at this stage, I mean, you can see the potato is kind of well marinated, or I would say absorbing the spices around itself. So at this stage, I'm going to put the fennel seeds and the dry ginger, which I had dry ground. So I'm going to put it all in it. That's the spice that I've stolen or borrowed from the Kashmiri Rogan Josh dish, which I have actually posted in my Bordo's kitchen. That gives a very nice flavor. So I'm going to make this, stir this a little bit more. And at this stage, one last ingredient that goes in is a heap or a large tablespoon of yogurt. One or maybe one and two. What it does is it kind of A, makes its gravy a little thicker, but B, more importantly, it kind of cuts down the spiciness of the dish, right? Because too many spices and chili have gone in, and red chili has gone in there. So that's done. It's a very simple dish to make. At this stage, I'm going to add hot water. And I'm using a thick bottom pan. So, you know, depending on how much water you want to make it, I'm going to put a little bit more because the water generally doesn't get out of these kind of utensils. And I'm going to basically parboil it on a slow flame, you know, boil it for about 30 minutes. But before I do that, I'm going to do my final salt test to make sure it's actually a little bit more salt. It's perfect right now, but I'll just add a little bit more salt to that. And I'm just going to stir this. And as I said, it's a thick bottom pan, so I'm going to basically slow flame cook it for 30 minutes with a covered lid. So I'm going to put the lid in and slow the flame and switch on the timer for 30 minutes. And that's your aloo dum aloo. Dum is basically power, right? And in typical Hindi language. So that's like a baby potato curry, the simplest English form, where I've used spices from the north, up north, Kashmiri or kind of northern India and east. So that's a wonderful dish. You can go, it's a side dish, or you can just skip it and, you know, have it as a meal in itself, because it's got carbs, it's tasty, and enjoy it. So that's my dish for today. Hope you like it. Cheers.